Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening to where you're at in the world. This is Viper Strike 95 Flight Sim. And today we're here to kick off our second week of our Japanese adventure. We're back where we ended on last Wednesday's flight. We're here at Aomori Airport, Romeo Juliet Sierra Alpha, right outside of the city of Aomori. It's great to have every one of you guys here today. So I hope you guys are doing quite well for yourselves. So we're ready to kick off the next weekend and such. So let's look at our flight plan for this evening, or this afternoon's trip. So, so let's go over our plan for this afternoon. So first, we're going to take off from Aomori Airport, Romeo Juliet Sierra Alpha. Fly around this area for a bit. We're going to fly across the Japanese plains of Honshu. We're going to be going through quite a few, including Lake Toadawa. All the way through the mountains, we get to see Mount Iwate and Mount Hachimantai and Lake Tazawa. And we'll be landing here in our first stop here at Matsushima Aerodrome at Romeo Juliet Sierra Tango. And then from there, we're going to fly to the city of Sendai, located right here. And then afterwards, we're going to make another detour, and we're going to make our way into Fukushima, located in the Fukushima province. We're going to see Lake Ishiwaro and Mount Adara, one of the many mountains in this area. And then we travel the rest of the way there and make our stop here at Utsumaya Aerodrome at Romeo Juliet Tango uniform. So that is going to be our trip. So that's going to be our flight plan for this evening. So I want to say hello to all in chat. I wanted to say thank you for V Norm and Gibble Ireland for the follows today. I appreciate all you guys following along on my stream. So this is Aomori, which we saw pass over here. There's this city. The weather should be beautiful out here today, with lots of low-lying clouds. This should definitely make things much more interesting for today's flight over the land of the rising sun. So the plane we're flying today is it's actually one of the most ubiquitous planes to ever exist. Over 40,000 of these planes have been produced since it first flown all the way back in the 1940s. Yes, it's the Cessna 172. This one is the latest and greatest version of a Cessna 172. This is with the G1000. You get this default version of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I mean, what's else to say? This plane, since 1956, has been more than 44,000. This thing is powered by a very capable Lycoming 160 horsepower Lycoming engine. It can cruise up to 122 knots with a range of nearly 700 nautical miles at 12,000 feet. This thing is just all around capable. It can carry people. It can carry some cargo, not very much of it, but for personal use, you can't get much better than this. It's a workhorse. That's why it's been so popular, and so many people fly it. Even militaries have flown this as a trainer, and I mean that's just how dependable this thing is. So let's take a look in the cockpit of this Cessna 172. So if we look, this is the G1000 version. There's another one that we could get if you go for the premium deluxe. If you buy the full version, you get the steam gauge version. But for today, we're taking the good old G1000 from default, and this is still an incredibly capable little plane. So good. So this thing is an absolute beauty of a thing. You got the big old G1000s. You got all the avionics systems. You have your altitude indicator, your airspeed indicator, and your altimeter right here in the cockpit. I mean, for many people who fly Cessna 172, this should be pretty familiar. For those who flew the G1000 version. So let's see if we can get this thing started for today. I always pull up my handy ditty. We've already checked all this stuff beforehand. We already did this. I'm going to set the fuel for today to be 70. I'm going to put 75, 85% would be pretty good. Before we start our engine, we complete our inspection. Test and set the, by pushing the pedals and set the parking brake. All good. Circuit breakers are already been pushed. Turn off the electrical equipment. Now we go to the fuel selector. It should be set on both, which it is. It's set onto both. The fuel shutoff valve should be open. It's fully pushed. It's already done that for us. So now with that pushed in, this should be good. We're ready to set and go. Get ready to get going. So we set the throttle to a 1/4 inch. Okay. We need idle cutoff. Then we need to test the standby battery. So we need to test and hold it for 20 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, good. It's done. Now we arm our standby battery until the PFD turns on. Initializing system. Garmin has been switched. Okay. Now we need to check all the parameters. Make sure there are no red X's. Engine page. I don't see any red X's, so that's good. Check for the 24-volt minimum. 24.4. That's good. The M-bus volts is 1.45 or less. And the discharge. Okay, and it's negative. That's checked. Standby battery indicator. It is checked. It's on. Prepare. We have the props clear. Clear prop. We're going to turn on both the master switches. Hey, Eagle Castella, good to have you here. Just want to pop in and say hello and say good night. It's great to have you here, Castella. I hope you have a great night. Beacon lights will be on. We're going to push the mixture into Ridge. Have a great stream and have an awesome flight. You too. Thank you so much for coming here. We turn on the auxiliary fuel pump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On. We lean the mixture. Lean this mixture again. We're ready to brake. We're going to turn the ignition on to start. And push this thing back in. You'll be traveling Switzerland this weekend. That's awesome. Switzerland's beautiful, Castella. Well, guess what? This weekend I'm going to be heading off to a cruise in the Caribbean as well. So we're both going to places, that's for sure. And we got the we got the plane started. Sec. Okay, that's good. Now we get the throttle just to 1,000. Turn off the standby battery. We flipped on the avionics switch, and the flaps should be up, and that's it. We're good. Oh, you'll be on the 27th of July, and then you'll be all of July. Wow, you're gonna be gone for a whole month. That's crazy. Yeah, definitely take care, Castella. And that's going to be our startup. We're gonna turn on the taxi lights. So that's it, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the first leg. So we're going to go take off here at Romeo. So we're going to go ahead and set this up. So here is today's route. I can see it. Okay, RJSA. The route's action. The route's wrong. I forgot. So Romeo, Juliet, Sierra Alpha. And then RJST. Ah, there. That's it. All right, guys. It's time to get this started, all right? Okay, we finally got this started. So guys, if you want to join me, I'm on East USA server. You do ! server. And I'm on East USA, and I updated the route. Though it's also in the description. And we'll get ready to take off. So our flight altitude for this leg is 6,500 feet. It's 6,500 feet. It should be our cruise. Let's go ahead and set that up. So I'm grateful to have you guys here. The reason I streamed later today is because Tutar Murphy's off for a couple weeks with his family in France. So I decided to take a bit later of the day. So at least there's someone on the Murphy team that can actually do some of the broadcast. But yeah, it's beautiful out here today in Japan. Just stunning. Pretty crazy stuff. Just making sure everyone's here. Gonna set the flaps. One stage of flaps. Set the trim. 14%. Go max throttle. And we should be getting out of here. And we're off. 59 knots at 2 knots 6 degrees. Oh, and by the way, I still need to change the PF. Wind option number 3. Yeah, we are in live weather, so I want to actually turn on the wind. But yeah, the scenery here in Japan is an absolute beauty of a scenery. I mean, this is just stunning. So I'm going to go ahead and, not turn, but I'm going to go ahead and actually just fly around the circuit. So I guess I'm doing a circuit, so if anyone wants to join me, I'll give you guys plenty of time. Like I said, I'm usually GA. I would prefer GA, but if you want something fun to fly, don't be afraid to take anything that's fun. Like I said, as Scruffy Tam said, no rules, just flight. And it's actually a pretty good thing to live by. But man, this is just stunning. So there is Aomori into our surroundings. I think we made it. So I think we just made our circuit. Back. Continue to let this climb for a little bit longer. Set the pressure. So that should be good. So I think that should be good enough. We're about to complete the circuit, so I'm going to go ahead and set up the autopilot. Nav mode. Vertical navigation set. And I'm going to climb at around 800 feet per minute. So that should be pretty good. We should be getting ready to climb. So it's great to have you guys here. So for all you guys in chat, I do these streams every Wednesday and Sunday. This one is a lot later than I usually stream. It's about 3 hours later than I normally stream. I usually stream at 1600 Zulu at 12 a.m. But I decided with Murph not being here, and if it was all right by Gibbo Ireland's permission, I'm streaming actually at this time. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock this one out of here. So I want to talk about today's slideshow for today. So this will continue on from our last stream, and today we actually split this up to several major topics. Hey, friend to all, good to have you in the chat. My good friend, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. So this, good to have you here. You should probably see your shiny new badge. Good here. Yeah, so this one, I'm streaming a little later today because, I decided, to stream a little later because of the Two-Tone Murphy thing. So I decided to stream a little later today. And this will also be my last stream for, not until this upcoming Sunday, but the next Sunday. So it'll be my last stream until next Sunday, so I'll be ready to head off to my cruise. So today we have quite a few topics to talk about here today. So leg one will be all about geography, geology, climate, natural hazards, biodiversity, government and politics, and the military and economy. So that's going to be our main topics for leg one on the slideshows. For all you guys new in chat, and as one of the major researchers of one of the communities, flight sim communities I'm part of, research is kind of my bread and butter. So that will be what I truly am. So let's go talk about our slideshow today. This one is about the geography of Japan. So Japan geographically, just like the Philippines, Japan's an archipelago nation. I mean, it's over 1,900 meters long along the Pacific coast of Asia. It consists of over 6,852 islands. The main 5 islands are Hokkaido, Honshu, which is the largest, most populous island, Kyushu, which we're going to be visiting at the end of our journey, Shikoku, which is one of the 4 main islands, and finally the island of Okinawa. The rest of those numbers, the 6,847, are all remote islands, including the Ryukyu Islands and the Nampo Islands. The territory of this covers around 145,936 square miles, making it the 4th largest island country in the world, and the largest island country in all of East Asia. It also has the 6th longest coastline at around 18,486 miles. Most of the terrain here in Japan is is actually populated by forest, and it's mostly rugged and mountainous. Central Japan in particular is dominated by a lot of the mountains. It's also located in the Ring of Fire, so earthquakes are a pretty big nuisance here too. And Central Japan is known by the convergence of 3 different mountain chains, the Hida, Kiso, and Akashi Mountains, and they are what forms the Japanese Alps, mainly that divide Honshu. Some of those peaks are over 9,800 feet. The highest point in the Japanese Alps is Mount Kita, which is around 10,476 feet. However, the highest point in Japan, and we're going to be visiting this one later, is Mount Fuji, and that rises about 12,000 feet. There's also major plains, including the Kanto Plain, which is actually where we're actually going to be flying over. Not this week's flight, but the next Japanese Adventure Week, we're going to be flying over the Kanto Plain as well. There's also quite a few rivers. The longest river is the Shiano River, and that goes through the Nagano and Niigata prefectures. There's also different lakes. The largest Lake Biwa, northeast of Kyoto, as well. So yeah, Japan's got some really interesting geography. The next thing is to talk about is Japan's geology. So geology-wise, Japan's geology is definitely very interesting, because you see Japan's on the Ring of Fire in the Pacific, and the result of the archipelago was created from the result of the subducting of the tectonic plates over several hundred million years, from the mid-Silurian period, which is around 443.8 million years, to the Pleistocene, around 11,700 years. Approximately 15,000 kilometers, or 9,300 miles, of the oceanic floor has passed under the archipelago under the past 450 million years. And as a result, many of the islands of Japan were created by these tectonic plates. Basically, for those who don't know, geology is the study of the Earth itself. In addition to this as well, the median tectonic line, which is the MTL, is the longest fault system in the country, and it begins near the Ibaraki prefecture to the east, just above Tokyo, where it connects with the Tokugawa Shizuoka tectonic line, the STL, and the Fossa Magna, and it runs parallel across the volcanic arc of Japan, which is what this picture to our right showing. Now, obviously, it's pretty small and you have a hard time seeing it, but I'll probably tell you everything. So the purple here is the limit of the plate convergence. This is the convergence plate limits. The red is the divergence of the plates. The little green marks is the transformation plate transformations. Then the blue is the subduction plates. This is a subduction zone. So those are the major things to point out from the graph. Pretty nice little chart. Pretty easy to kind of read. There's also quite a few ocean trenches in Japan. For example, there's a Kuril-Kamachi Trench, which is in the Northwest Pacific. It's off the coast of Kamacha and parallels the Kuril Island chain. Then there's the Japan Trench, which is around 4,971 miles. In the Izu-Asagawa Trench. And basically what these ocean trenches are is these trenches is where there's a massive depth of depth. For example, they're depressions of the ocean floor. I think most people know is the Mariana Trench, all the way in the Pacific, and the depression's massive. And this is where you get some of the deepest portions of the ocean. For example, the Marianas Trench, which, while is it in Japan, it can go as deep as 36,201 feet deep. It's pretty crazy as well. So that is that's the geology. In terms of the climate, Japan's climate is definitely very diverse. One of the major reasons is its wide range. For example, most regions of Japan, like Honshu, Shikoku, Kyushu, they're temperate climates. But once you go further north, it becomes more cool and humid. More cool and humid, especially in Hokkaido. And if you go to some of the southern islands, they actually become more of a tropical rainforest type climate. And that's according to the Köppen climate classification. And they're usually the ones to make those islands. So there's 6 major climate zones. Hokkaido's in the humid climate. The Sea of Japan area in the winter gives a lot of snowfall. The Central Highland region has lots of temperature variation between summer and winter, between days and nights. The Pacific Ocean area, for example, varies greatly between north and south. And the Ryukyu Islands range from subtropical climate to rainforest stuff. In terms of rainfall, Japan is actually quite rainy due to it and with high humidity. And as a result, thanks to its wide range of latitudes it can be at, there's lots of different seasonal winds as a result. In the summers, Japan is marked by hot, wet weather brought from the tropical airflows from the Pacific Ocean to Southeast Asia. And these airflows are full of moisture and stuff, and with lots of rain when they land. The maximum precipitation in the summer occurs in the summer months. However, in the winter, especially if you're near Sapporo, it actually gets pretty cold due to lots of the Eurasian landmass. So you get some pretty interesting climates in Japan. For example, the hottest month, which has historically been May, is 103. However, when you get to the winter, for the record, when record cold, depending on some areas, it could get to negative 41 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, yeah, Japan's weather is really change, and that's. Hey, DC Viper, good to have you here. Honshu didn't feel all that temperature in July. Yeah. The Marianas Trench is, yes, Marianas Trench is deeper than Mount Everest is high. That's 100% true. So you definitely see lots of changes. Now, natural hazards-wise, Japan has some really big natural hazards. Obviously, earthquakes and tsunamis are the 2 major ones. Particularly earthquakes, because Japan is very prone to lots of earthquakes and tsunamis. Because, like the Philippines, it's located in the Ring of Fire. In fact, in the 2013 World Risk Index, Japan has the 15th highest natural disaster risk in the world. In fact, yearly, 1,500 earthquakes are recorded yearly, with magnitudes between 4 and 6 are quite common. Also, undersea earthquakes are a big issue because of the coastline. And usually destructive earthquakes, often several times each century, including the 1923 Tokyo earthquake. And it killed over 140,000 people. But the most recent major quakes include the 1995 Great Hanshin earthquake. And probably the one most famously known recently is the 2011 Tohoku earthquake, which was 9.1 magnitude. And it caused not just a large tsunami, but one of the worst disasters in the history of nuclear power, the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, which made several areas become ghost towns. And that earthquake was also the largest to ever record in Japan, and the 4th largest earthquake strike since 1900. Pretty crazy stuff. And as a result of all these earthquakes, Japan has since become a world leader in research and causes and prediction of these earthquakes. No, it's not. It's Fukushima, it's Fukushima. Oh yeah, Fukushima survived the earthquake just fine. Yeah, it's in the Fukushima province. That's where I should say the Fukushima province. But it's not only earthquakes you should fear in Japan. volcanoes too, because Japan has 108 active volcanoes, which is 10% of all the active volcanoes on the planet. Most of these are located on like a lot of the Pacific islands. During the 20th century, like there's several new volcanoes, including Showa Shinjan in Hokkaido, and Myojin Sho off the Bannese Rocks in the Pacific. In 1991, Uzan volcano awakened from its 200-year slumber to produce new lava as well. And apparently it was the worst volcanic disaster in the recorded history of the country. And here's something most funny. Mount Fuji isn't actually a mountain. It's actually a stratovolcano. And currently it's dormant with its last eruption in 1707 and 1708. But according to the eruption of Mount Fuji at the time, it released some 800 billion cubic meters of volcanic ash, and it reached nearly the island of Edo, nearly 60 miles away. So yeah, volcanoes are a pretty big issue, and then typhoons as well. Since recorded in 1951, 2.6 typhoons have reached the main islands of Japan per year. And approximately 10 typhoons are approach within the 300-kilometer range near the country. Okinawa, due to its location, is actually the most vulnerable to typhoons, average of 7 storms per year. The most destructive one was in 1959, the Isa 1 typhoon, and it caused 5,000 casualties. So, as a result, typhoons are probably a really big deal in Japan. You definitely do not want to mess with forces of nature. You can buy beer and ramen at the top of Fujisan. Yep. But you should still respect Mount Fuji. It can still explode. So, and then finally for this part, I'm going to split up later. So the last major part of this is going to be Japan's biodiversity. You know, as a biologist, biodiversity is really important. And it's a major deal in Japan. Without question, I think it's one of the biggest things Japan really has going for it is its biodiversity. So Japan has quite a bit of biodiversity. For one, Japan's home to several major species only found in Japan and nowhere else. So this also includes a lot of the flora here. So let's talk about mammal species. And why does Japan have such quite a good biodiversity? It's because, well, like I said, the multitude of climates create multiple different unique species for animals living here despite its isolation. The tsunami was from the earthquake. The insurance company asked you to prove rain versus flooding versus hurricane damage to make your claim. Are you an agent? No. So fun story DC Viper mentioned. In 2004, a typhoon hit the U.S. Navy base at Yokosuka. USS Vincent did not prepare very well and took an trip across the harbor into USS Coronado. Yeah, that's from what I heard. Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. I hope no one else got hurt. But speaking about mammals, let's talk about all the different animals in Japan. First, there are about 130 species of mammals. This include the largest of these animals is the Ursuri brown bear found in Hokkaido, and it plays an important role to the culture of the Ainu people. Then there's also the smaller carnivore. The red fox makes its home here. As they're found all over the place. Another really unique animal that actually lives here is the raccoon dog. Lives here, and basically what a raccoon dog is, its main Latin name is actually Niceratories procyandides. Basically, the raccoon dog is it's actually a member of the canine species, along with the Japanese raccoon dog, aka the tanuki. And despite its name, it's actually related to the foxes. So that's a really interesting small animal that a lot of people don't know about. There's the leopard cat, one of the two small wild cats in Japan. you can find deer, including the sika, and the wild boar. However, the most famous mammal in Japan is actually the Japanese macaque, which you see in the picture. That's a Japanese macaque. Some really interesting things about these Japanese macaques. They're the only the world's most northernmost monkey species you could find here on the planet. They're also known as the snow monkey, native here to Japan. And what's really cool about these macaques is the fact that during their time, they actually bathe in a lot of the hot springs over Japan. There's a picture of one of them I found in Nagano, and they actually visit these spas to actually keep warm during the winter. And trust me, like I said back in the climate data, the winters can get really cold. They're also extremely intelligent species. They're a really smart species. They can even they can roll snowballs for fun and all that, bathe in the hot springs, similar to, and they also found out to have different accents like human cultures do. They're also omnivorous. They can eat both plants, bark, insects, and more. So, and their relationship with Japanese culture is quite deep, including the religion, folklore, and arts. So these macaques are a big deal. Definitely one of the most famous species in all of Japan. Then we talk about birds. So there's over 600 species reported in Japan. Around 250 of them breed here in the country. So some of the endemic birds include the Japanese woodpecker, the copper pheasant, and of course one of the more famous birds that live endemic here is the green pheasant, which is also known as the national bird of Japan. These pheasants usually eat small animals like worms, insects, grains, and plants, and they're a big part of the culture. In Japan, many people claim that they actually are scared by earthquakes and scream due to it, though we don't know if that's actually true or not. So that's definitely a very famous bird species. Now, of course, there's also a large amount of the migrant birds have been recorded here. But the most famous migrant bird is the red-crowned cranes. They're the most famous bird that migrates here to Japan. They usually live all throughout East Asia, in China, Korea, and Japan. And these cranes are absolutely beautiful birds. They often migrate to Hokkaido for the wintering grounds. They're known for their incredibly social with their large flocks. And more importantly, their status in Japan is they're currently an endangered species in some areas, but right now, as of later, they've been invulnerable. But especially the crane's a huge deal for cultures, not just in Japan, but in China and Korea as well. In China, they often feature the crane for a lot of myths in culture, including Taoism as a symbol of longevity and immortality. In Japanese culture, there is actually, this crane is known as the Tanchorozu, and is supposed to be living for 1,000 years. And given the reputation, the red-headed crane is even the international logo of Japan Airlines, which we will talk about later. And the reason they picked that was because the crane myth was positive, as it mates for life, the loyalty, and flies high for miles without tiring strength. So yeah, the crane is very well known. There's also 73 species of reptile and amphibians. This includes one of the world's largest salamander species, the Japanese giant salamander. Also home to sea snakes, sea turtles, the elegant pit viper, and more. There's also over 3,000 kinds of fish, because you know how important fish is. They include the crucian carp. And how about one of the more famous species you can find in Japan as well? How about one of the more famous species you can find in Japan, including the koi carp? The koi is something a lot of people know from Japan, the koi. You can also find all sorts of different salmon species you can find here in Japan. The Japanese flying squid. And of course, you can also find insects like butterflies, dragonflies, and one of the most infamous wasp, the Asian giant hornet. And by the way, I know a lot of you complain about wasp species. I mean, at least you're not having to worry about wasp like the giant hornets, and those things are nasty. You do not want to get stung by them. I mean, they can wipe, like, 10 of those things could wipe out an entire hive of honeybees and just, well, so yeah. And it's also got 4,000 to 6,000 plants, and they range from the subtropical forest in the south to the coniferous forest in the north. So basically, there's lots of different species. Bamboo grows abundantly here too, and it's also introduced several non-native species, like crops like rice, garden plants, and more. So yeah, that is the biodiversity of Japan in a nutshell. Hey, Blue Angels MSFS, great to have you guys here. First time in the chat, great to have you here. It's great to have you here. Thank you guys so much. So we just got over a bit of the first part of the flight. I usually give out the PowerPoint stuff, academic slideshow, to talk about our topics, but we're flying in Japan right now. Let's get out of the cockpit for a bit, and yeah, look at the view. This is just, I mean, can you not think of anything else? This is just stunning here. But I'm doing fantastic today. I hope you're doing great as well, Blue Angels MSFS. So if you feel like join, I'm on East USA server. We're currently heading to our first destination, Romeo Juliet Sierra Tango. If you want to come along, you're more than free to come. So look, if you guys can look to your left, this is Mount Iwate to our left. It's actually a stratovolcano complex, and it's one of the 100 famous mountains here in Japan. It's around 6,686 feet in elevation, and it's actually erupted in its last eruption has been in 1732. It's the last major eruption of the volcano. But yeah, it's stunning here. Blue Angels MSFS ask, well, what's one plane you wish you had in MSFS? Fantastic question. I think the one plane I would love to have in MSFS, I think it's going to come soon, but the one plane I would really want to have in MSFS, I think, is going to be the de Havilland-7. That's the next plane I'm going to want to get my hands on. In terms of airliners, jetliners, I would probably say the Boeing's 777 would be great, or the original 707. And more importantly, if it's propeller planes, like prop planes, I would say the plane I want to see is an old warbird, and it's the B-7. It's the B-29 Super Fortress from Boeing. Those are the planes I want to see in the city. But yeah, great question, Blue Angels. That's a fantastic question. So, Friend All says, despite the interesting geology, oil has never been founded. Yeah, unfortunately, oil has never really been founded in Japan. In fact, Japan, while it has resources, it has to import a lot of those resources, so no. Also, Friend All also mentions, yes, these primates do steal tourist gear. Yes, you have to watch out for the primates. Like, they're more intelligent than people give them credit for. So, yep. I found my fish at the local sushi go-round. Ah, cool. Oh, the Dash 7, yes, the de Havilland-7 prop liner. Yes. Like, I like to have these prop airliners in the sim. I think it's fantastic. So, to our right, I think it's soon to come to our right. I think the only minerals they have is coal and iron. Yes, they actually play in coal and iron, but they couldn't find any other resources. In fact, it's those lack of resources is what led Japan to invade all those areas in World War II. Because once the oil embargo happened, Japan had to take other resources. Because the mainland island Japan didn't have a lot of resources. Hey, Dave Rendon! Good to have you, Dave. It's great that you came by. Thank you for following me a couple days ago, Dave. So, guys who don't know, Dave Rendon is a good friend of Scruffy Tam. I think he streams here on Twitch. I think he does stream on Twitch. I know he hasn't streamed in a while. But Dave Rendon has actually streamed here on Twitch, so let me give him a shout out. Oh, the PMDG-737. Yes, I love the 737. I'm a huge Boeing fan, Blue Angels. Oh, I'm a huge fan of Boeings. Boeings are the planes I like to fly in the sim. So this is going to be great. Bowling Square, it says crash. First time chat. Good to welcome to see you, Bowling Square. I hope you're doing well. Oh yeah, bowling. Yeah, bowling's fun, actually. Bowling's a pretty fun sport, if you ask me. I used to do bowling way back when with my community group back in the old days. We go into the bowling lane and get strikes. It was very fun. So it's great to have you guys here. We're in Japan right now, and we're actually flying our way down to Romeo Juliet Sierra Tango. If you guys like to join along, I'm on the East USA server. Do you have the PNDG 737? Yes, I do have the 737 Blue Angels. It's amazing. I have it. It's awesome. That being said, I mean, a lot of people love the Phoenix A320, and that's an incredible airliner itself. I have the 73. You haven't flown on stream. No worries there, Dave. Like the 737, it's going to take a bit of a while for people to get used to it. Like I said, it's a complex airliner. It's like, I know the default isn't too difficult, but this one, you really have to do it. Every time I do MSFS, I crash. Oh, no. Oh, no, that stinks. I hate when people have crashes because everyone's so different. Oh, yeah, the Zeebo. Oh, for X.11. Oh, yeah, the Zeebo 737. That is like the 73. That's like the X.11 equivalent to the fly-by-wire A320. Freeware based off the original and doing that. So yes, very much so. So for some MSFS add-ons. So, oh, we got some pretty big news. So for the news for that, so Swiss Milsim previews their DH-111 Vampire to have one Vampire. Then Just Flight's bringing another regional airliner, actually two regional airliners, because they're bringing in the Fokker 170 model, which is the shorter version. So it's another airliner. It's another jetliner in the simulator. And basically, for those who don't know, and Just Flight's also still working on their F-28. So yeah, they're bringing more of the regional jets, which I think is great. And I mean, I've had most of their planes, and Just Flight have made some amazing products. Some of the best in the whole add-ons for the whole sim. Just really, really good. So they look absolutely incredible. So I'm glad we're seeing another regional jet. But here's actually big news I learned a minute ago. So here's something pretty big news. So if you guys never heard, so you guys know A2A simulations. They're the ones that bring they're basically the PMDG of GA planes. Because some of their products in PDG and all that are so realistic. It's not funny, Well, guess what? They shared their first screenshots of their Comanche 250 from Piper. So they're working on their Comanche, which I think is a very welcome addition to the whole simulation for more GA stuff. And they have a real life Comanche 250 that they got, so they're gonna make it just as realistic as the real 250. Now we don't know what price it's going to be and all that, or when it's coming out, but it's going to be pretty interesting. Are they the ones that crashed their example aircraft? That's a good question. I don't remember if they did or not. I don't remember. But yeah, this should be really interesting to see what they got. So that's some of the bit of the MSFS news for today. They had an Aerostar. Oh yes, the Aerostar. Yeah, you're. Oh yeah. Thank you, DC Viper. They did. But yeah, the scenery is amazing today. Just love the scenery. It's just so good. Scenery looks awesome as usual. Okay, we got a bit of turbulence. 12 knot crosswind. But it's great to have all you guys here. Thank you so much for coming by. I got a memory that retains all the unimportant stuff. Hey, that's not a bad thing about the unimportant stuff. We all learn something here on this stream. There's nothing wrong with holding unimportant trivia. Also, in addition, guys, I think you guys should test this out. On my channel page, if you scroll down, should be the sound alerts. So, I adjusted the volume and all that. And you can actually play whatever sound alert you want. And it's my way of interacting more with the chat. So let's play this. I hope this isn't. I try to make sure it's not too loud because, you know, obviously. Yeah, that one is from Sonic the Hedgehog, as you can tell. Sonic the Hedgehog is one of my favorite video game franchises when I was growing up. I loved playing the Sonic games. I mean, Sonic had some really good games back in the 2D era. I mean, it just hasn't been the same after Sonic Adventure 2. Just wasn't the same. But yeah, I have all sorts of sound alerts. I have Kentucky Derby, Boeing stuff, fighter jets, and some pretty funny pop culture stuff. So I got all sorts of things for my sound alerts. So I have plenty of those if you want to do those too. Just like I said, to increase interaction and having fun on the stream. Oh yeah, Sonic was a good time as well. Just simple side-scroller. Yep. Yeah, gaming's changed a lot since then as well. So we were around 67 nautical miles left to go for the end of the first leg. Okay, if you guys actually hear what's going on else. Okay, yeah, the sim sounds weren't really working. But yeah, if you heard all the noise out there, that's thunderstorm. That was thunder out there. So that was not good to have to hear thunderstorms. Thankfully, I'm in the basement, so I don't have to worry about being struck by lightning. So yeah, like I said, the 90s and 2000s were a good time to be gaming. Like, you had a lot of great franchises in the 90s. I mean, you had Mario, you had Sonic, Crash Bandicoot, Banjo-Kazooie, Final Fantasy VII, GoldenEye, Metal... Uh, gaming nowadays, like, don't get me wrong, there are some absolute gems of modern games now. It's just, it isn't the same as it was back then. If Conti was here, yes. I was FS5 back in the playing. Oh, FS5. Ah, cool. I'm starting to hear thunder here in Columbus. Yeah, lots of thunder. The thunder from down under. If Conti was here. Let's get back. Let's get back out the cockpit. Let's see. Let's get some view from here. Flight Simulator 5. Good old Meeks Field. Yes. Now, actually, the story about Meeks Field, I did some research on that. So apparently, Robert Daley was the mayor during that time, and he used the excuse of terrorism. And apparently, what he did was illegal, but he tore down Meeks Field and replaced it with a park. And that is still a move seen as very controversial by a lot of aviator stuff. Thankfully, thanks to the power of mods, and you can get Meeks Field back to the way she should be. But I mean, yeah, it's still controversial even to this day. No, Richie Daley just bulldozed the one. Yes. Yeah, that was. But the thing was, yeah, very much a classic airport, especially for Flight Simulator. Yeah, as long as Clean doesn't impose Burke Lakefront, I'll be happy. Yeah, same here. I mean, it's still used by a lot of the cargo stuff. AirNet Express and Central Air Southeast do cargo flights from Burke. But there are people that want to post KBL and put condos there. Yeah. Yes. Yes, that's an issue for it all. LA nut jobs keep reducing airports and ad housing and saying the noise of new homes requires further reduction. Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Eventually, they're going to be running out of airports, and that's going to be a problem. They used to make money flying paper checks around the processors. Yeah. I mean, those were the people who used airports during that time in Burke. So it's not my fault for that. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the next part of my, this slideshow. So I'm going to be going ahead to actually do this. So let's talk about the government and politics of Japan. So in terms of the politics here in Japan and what makes it special, so Japan is actually a constitutional monarchy still. It's a constitutional monarchy similar to the United Kingdom and a unitary state, in which the power of the emperor was limited to a ceremonial. Now, back in the old days, the emperor used to have divine power. Back in the day, leading up to the end of World War II, the emperor used to have divine power. But after the war, they reduced the emperor's role to be less divine in order to allow democracy to fully take over, which was the whole thing about the war. In addition to this as well, executive power is instead wielded by the prime minister and his cabinet, with their sovereignty vested in the Japanese people. Currently, the emperor of Japan is Naruhito, having succeeded Akihito's throne on top of the Chrysanthemum throne in 2019. Basically, what the Chrysanthemum throne is the imperial seat, the throne of the emperor. And that's usually found at the Kyoto Imperial Palace. Now, for those who don't know, Japan's legislative organ is the National Diet, which is a bicameral parliament. It consists of a lower House of Representatives with 465 seats, elected by popular vote every 4 years, and an upper House of Councilors with 245 seats, in which members would serve 6-year terms. There's also universal suffrage for adults over 18, with a secret ballot for all elective offices. Now, and the Prime Minister, as the head of government, has the power to appoint and dismiss ministers of state, and is appointed by the Emperor after being designated among the members of the Diet. Currently, the Prime Minister of Japan is Fumio Kishida, when he took over office after winning the 2021 Liberal Democratic Party leadership election. Now, the legal system of Japan is influenced by Chinese law, and it was developed independently during the Edo period. And since the late 19th century, the judicial system has been based off the civil law of Europe, most notably Germany. And their civil code was based on the German Bürgerliches Gesetzbuch, which remains in effect even in post-World War II with some modifications that happened. And its constitution, which was adopted in 1947, is currently the oldest unamended constitution on the planet. So, yeah, that's a bit about the government and politics of Japan. Ergonomics and work. The last time the Japanese people ever heard the Emperor's voice was recorded in the Imperial University at the end of the war. Poor Japanese was almost incomprehensible to ordinary people. Yes. Because some of the terms in the court were completely different from the native Japanese language. So there's that as well. In terms of relationships and foreign relations, so Japan has extremely close ties with the U.S. through security, and the U.S. is one of its major markets for Japanese exports and a major source for all the imports of Japan. Japan is also a member of the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, the Quad, along with the U.S., Australia and India to limit the Chinese influence of the Indo-Pacific region that was established in 2017. Now, here's something that's a bit more negative, however. Its relationship with South Korea. It's been historically been extremely strained due to Japan's treatment of the Koreans during their colonial rule, most notably the comfort women thing. Basically, for those who don't know what comfort women were, they were basically women and girls forced into sexual slavery by the Japanese army. In 2015, Japan agreed to settle the dispute with the comfort woman stuff, and as of 2019, Japan is a major importer of Korean music, television, and other cultural products. And also, Japan is currently engaged with several territorial disputes, including the Kuril Islands with Russia, and of course, it's also its relationship with China and Taiwan over the Senkaku Islands. So those are some of Japan's foreign relations. Since the Emperor's period ceremony should he not rank lower, he's still the head of state like the Queen of England. Yes, very much so. He's still the head of the state, obviously. So I'm going to go descent to 1500. Just going to descend down to 1500 feet, just slowly. The Chinese people are not happy. They also shrine convicted classic war criminals. The Yasukuni Shrine, that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the Yasukuni Shrine? Yeah, the Chinese and Koreans are definitely not very happy. Yeah, I don't blame Chinese one bit. Yes, I do not blame the Chinese one bit. Yes. I mean, some of those include Hideki Tojo, who orchestrated most of the major war crimes during the Japanese during World War II. By the way, some of the war crimes were so bad committed by the Japanese were so terrible, even the Nazis were disgusted. I mean, if you did war crimes that disgusted even Nazi Germany, you're probably doing something wrong when even they are disgusted. And it's not like the Nazis have not committed war crimes, they still committed massive war crimes. The next is Japan's military. So Japan's military is actually one of the largest military budgets of any country in the world. Even though they're the second highest ranked Asian country in the Global Peace Index, they still have a pretty large military budget. Their military consists of the Japan Self-Defense Force. Now, currently they're restricted by the Article 9 of the Japanese Constitution, which renounces Japan's right to declare war. And this was added to the Japanese Constitution by Douglas MacArthur to renounce belligerency and all that. As a result. However, despite that, though, the military is governed by the Ministry of Defense and primarily consists of the Japan's Ground Self-Defense Force, the Maritime Self-Defense Force, and the Japan Air Self-Defense Force. They deployed troops to Iraq and Afghanistan, which marked their first overseas action since World War II. So the Ground Self-Defense Force was established back in 1954. It's the largest of the three service branches, containing many different personnel and equipment. They wield the Type 10 battle tank, their newest fourth generation battle tank. Armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles in the AH-64 Apache. Then we get to their air defense force, their maritime force. So the Japan Maritime Self-Defense has a fleet of 154 ships, 346 planes, and 50,000 personnel. Now, back in the old days, Japan had one of the world's most powerful navies on the planet, only rivaled by the Americans and British. But currently, Japan's navy is still quite capable, including and they have all sorts of different planes, like the P-3 Orion as a maritime patrol, transports like the King Air and Hercules, and some trainer planes, including the Fuji T3. In addition to this as well, they also have their JS Izumo, which is a helicopter carrier, and it's now been retrofitted to now carry the F-35 Lightning tubes. So very capable stuff. They got lots of amphibious ships and auxiliary ships. And finally, their Air Self-Defense Force, which is what they have. The Air Self-Defense Force is their own air force, and this one is pretty cool. It operates 740 different planes, almost half being fighter planes. 49,000 personnel are here, and their air fleet consists of combat planes like the Eagle, the Mitsubishi F2, which is basically their version on the F-16, and most recently the F-35 Lightning II from Lockheed. They also got the Boeing E-767 as one of their AWACS, along with the Kawasaki C-2 reconnaissance plane. All sorts of different transport planes, C-2, the Hercules, helicopters like the Chinook, and all sorts of train planes. So the Japanese definitely have quite a bit of a defense force. Despite being self-defense, they actually got a very capable force. It's just the Japanese people are such pacifists that you don't get to see them very much. Unit 731, yes. 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 The J are very sharp operators, good people to work with. Their Aegis destroyers are pretty potent. The E-767 is, yeah, a Boeing 767 with a radar thing attached. Yes. I'm very aware of all of those. And finally, we're going to talk about Japan's economy. So Japan obviously has one of the world's most powerful economies. In fact, in terms of national economies, it's the third largest in the world behind the US and China in nominal GDP, and the fourth largest on the planet after the US, China, and India in terms of purchasing power. The labor force of Japan consists of 67 million workers, and its unemployment rate is pretty low at 2.4%. Japan is known for quite a bit of its main exports are motor vehicles, Honda, Toyota, Nissan, and all that. Iron and steel products, semiconductors, and auto parts. Oh yeah, and Subaru too. Forget Subaru is also Japanese as well. And then its main imports, they have to import quite a bit, but mainly machinery and equipment. Fossil fuels, because Japan doesn't have any fossil fuel resources outside of coal. Foodstuff, chemical, and raw materials. So Japan's agricultural industry only accounts for 1.2% of its GDP, and it's because Japan doesn't have much arable land. About 11.5% of its land is suitable for cultivation, and as a result, they had to build lots of terraces to maximize the crop yields. However, a big part about Japan, though, is fishing, because Japan's seventh in the world in tonnage of fish caught. When it caught 3,467,610 metric tons of fish. Japan also has a big industry, as it's one of the most technologically advanced producer of motor vehicles, tools, and more around the world. And that produces around 27.5% of its GDP. And it's the third highest in the world in manufacturing output since 2019. Especially automobiles, which is the third largest automobile producer in the world, including home to the world's largest automobile company, Toyota. But the most important thing has been its services, around 70% of its output, with telecommunications, transportation, banking, and more. And of course, tourism, because Japan attracted nearly 31.9 million tourists in 2019. And finally, for the last thing about economy, Japan is a natural power in science, as it's a leading nation in the world in research, particularly in natural sciences and engineering, as it's ranked 12th among the most innovative countries in 2020 in the Bloomberg Innovation Index. It's a special leader in robotics, around over half of the 2017 total in robotics production. So yeah. Also, it's a big deal for electronics, particularly in video gaming, as it's still a major industry as Japan's consumer game market grows to 9.6 billion as of 2014. Hey, ailerons in the wind with a rate of 5 people. Ailerons in the wind. Welcome. Welcome, Raiders. Good to have you here. Stuart, I hope you had an amazing ending to your flight. Dangerous Brian and Muse Fan and Airlock. Great to have all you guys here today. Thank you so much. So guys, this is week number 2 of our Japanese tour. This is for FS Hub. This is a very important one. I'm doing the Beauty of Japan achievement. So we're headed away to Matsushima Aerodrome, Romeo Juliet Sierra Tango. I hope you guys had a great time on Airlines and Windstream. By the way, I'm going to give a shout out to Airlines in the Wind. He just got affiliate earlier this week. He's a real-life student pilot of the Piper PA-28 Aero. And he is a really good pilot. I actually have one of his t-shirts. I haven't worn it yet, but it's great to have him here. Definitely check out his channel. Give him a follow, and make sure you help him get even more followers. Tell him that Viper Strike sent you here. So, Aero in the Wind. Our route for today is, this is the route. We're in Japan right now. I'm on East USA server. So, it's great to have all you guys here. Thank you so much for coming. So, currently, Arrows for the Wind. Yeah, arrows are great. The Piper arrows are fantastic planes to get. So we're heading away to Matsushima Aero. We just talked about the economy of Japan and talked about all that. We talked about geography and all that. Piper all the way. Just don't tell Colonel Fork. No, Cessnas are great too. I love both Cessnas and Pipers. I like both of them. I like flying both Pipers and Cessnas. They're both great planes. Both of them have made fantastic quality airplanes. So, yeah, I hope you guys are doing fantastic today. So today, our first stop for today's stream is going to be Matsushima Airfield, Romeo Juliet Sierra Tango. This airport is a military aerodrome of the Japan Air Self-Defense Force located in Higashima, Matsushima. It is the headquarters for the 4th Wing of the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, and it's primarily used for training, as it's home to the JSFDF 21st Fighter Train Squadron. But here's something else this airport is quite interesting, and I wasn't paying attention to that when I was first looking at that. It's also home to their own aerobatic display team. It's their equivalent of the USAF Thunderbirds, known as Blue Impulse, currently known as the 11th Squadron 4th Air Wing. All about aerobatics. For those who don't know, they've been active since April 12th, 1960. And when the Thunderbirds arrived here in '59 and visited Japan, it inspired the Air Self-Defense Force commanders to have their own aerobatic team. They originally flew in the F-86 Sabre from 1960 to 1981. Currently, right now, they're flying the Kawasaki T4 jet trainer. And they fly from all around the world. They performed at the Winter Olympics in 1998, at the 2002 World Cup. However, this airport was also damaged by the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami when it was flooded with seawater. And 18 of their F2s, Mitsubishi F2Bs, were damaged and destroyed by that earthquake and flooding. So yeah, that is Matsushima Airfield. For all you guys who just came to my stream, I do these every single week, is to give out presentations. So this one, we get to learn all about Japan. Earlier today, guys, I talked about the government and politics of Japan, the military, geography, and biodiversity. But I got even more coming on Leg 2, which will cover even more topics. So basically, you guys will learn all about Japan, and this is what the next 5 weeks is. What the 5 weeks is going to be on it. It's all about learning all about Japan, and by the time you get out of it, you will be pretty knowledgeable about Japan, including its culture and everything. This will also be my last stream for almost 2 weeks, as I'm going to be heading out of town. So, but thank you guys so much for coming here. So it's great to have you guys here. Yeah, a lot of people don't. When a lot of people think about Mitsubishi, most people don't think Mitsubishi make planes, but they actually do make planes as well. For me, absolutely the most famous Mitsubishi plane ever made is absolutely the A6M0. Is the most famous Mitsubishi plane ever made. It's known by its call sign, the Zero. It was designated in Japan as the Navy Type 0 carrier fighter. The Allied reporter name was Zeke. And when it came to service in World War II, it was the most capable carrier-based fighter in the early World War II, with excellent maneuverability and very long range. However, once Allied pilots had better tactics, the Zero had some major weaknesses. Especially, it didn't have any armor, so it got torn to pieces. But even though, it's still a very famous plane. Over 10,000 of them have been produced, nearly 11,000 to be exact. So yeah, I know a lot about history. Dangerous Brian, do you think you ever bite the bullet and start flying airliners, or GA all the way? That's a great question, Dangerous Brian. Actually, here's the thing, Dangerous Brian. I have flown airliners, believe it or not. In my earlier streams, if you go back to my VODs, I actually have been flying airliners. I've actually flown airliners on stream. I've actually flown it 3 times, actually. My first one was with the Boeing 747. That did not go well. However, the next 2 streams with airliners went really well. One with the Airbus A320 and the other one with the 146. And by the way, speaking about Discord, I do actually have my own Discord. The Mitsubishi Zero may be the rarest production aircraft in existence. Yeah, it's pretty rare. The Zero is a very rare plane nowadays because there's not too many surviving planes. It's because all of them were completely destroyed and everything. But yeah, I've actually flown airliners, Dangerous Brian. I've flown them before. I've flown them 3 times. I'm hoping with the end of the Japan series, I may do some occasional airliner flights with Firefly Air. Maybe some connecting hub routes or something. Probably do something with cargo, because I'm a huge fan of cargo planes. Because where I live, UPS is a big reason for it. So here it is. We're approaching Matsushima. We are approaching here. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll get so some of you guys can join in and fly along with me. If you guys haven't checked it out and want to follow my channel, don't be afraid to follow the channel and all that if you haven't followed yet. And I do have my Discord set up, so you guys are more than invited into the Discord. So I'm going to go ahead and disable the music for a bit. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to land. So I think we're going to land on runway 15 because it's a headwind, and I think it's a good idea to land with the headwind. So all airworthy zeros are exceedingly rare. Yes, because most of the zeros in museums are actually a combination of different parts. In fact, there's such a lack of airworthy zeros that they actually had to make T6 Texans and had to change them into zeros just because there wasn't so many of them. Okay, autopilot, vertical navigation, cool. Gonna slow down, but just gonna use this to kind of bleed off some. Just gonna do a quick circle around, just to lose a bit of speed. Don't subscribe and hit the bell. I don't have my thing. I don't have my money thing monetized, but definitely check out and follow the button. Just bleed off a bit of speed, bleed off a bit of speed, bleed off a bit of speed. Just gotta bleed that off. This will be like 2. Sounds good though. No worries. Just getting everything nice and ready. Yep, just gonna go ahead and slow down. You'll get there. Oh, I know I'll get there. My next goal is getting 400 follows. That would be my next goal for my stream. Let's see. Look at that. Wow, that was good. -50 feet per minute. That was smooth. In a break. So we're here at Romeo Juliet Sierra Tango. So we're actually completed leg 1 of today's trip. So already off to a great start for today's flight. Hey, dun, dun. Yeah, victory from Final Fantasy. That theme, by the way, is from Final Fantasy VII. I know this because I played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and that's Cloud's victory theme. Nearly 11,000 zeros have been dwindled to only 2 airworthy specimens. The Commander of Air Force flies one, and the Planes Museum in Chino, California flies the other one. This might be out of date. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true for all. So I'm just going to leave this to be a short break. I know I'm not supposed to park in the taxiway, but there's that. So we're gonna stay around here and take a bit of a break for about a minute or two while I get everything set up for the next leg. So let's go ahead and play some music. Let's play some good old classical music. Why not? Hey guys, I'm back. Let me pull up the video display. So we're back now. What's for those who just came in? Let me go ahead and give you the map for for the second leg. So we're gonna pop this bad boy up. So we'll be heading off from Matsushima Arrow, and we're going to actually go down and fly first to downtown Sendai. We're gonna visit here. Sendai is a pretty well-known city in Japan in this area. Then from Sendai, we're going to fly down to Fukushima City and visit quite a few of the areas around here. And then we're going to go straight across, flying over Koriyama, and making our final stop here at Yuta Omiyama, Ayama, Yuts Unomiya Aerodrome, Romeo Juliet Tango uniform. So that will be our flight for leg number 2. So that is going to do leg 2. If you guys want to join in, the nearest airport is actually right on top of you on the screen. Romeo Juliet Sierra Tango. I'm on East USA server. So feel free to come in if you guys feel like it. So let's get back to the cockpit. Turn off the parking brake. Our main cruising altitude for this flight is going to be 3,000 feet. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and redo the flight route. RJST-RJTU. 3,000 feet. Should be plenty good. Ooh. We're just going to go across here. So basically, there'll be quite a few areas we will definitely discuss. This is a pretty simple flight. I want to say a massive thank you to, like I said earlier, thank you guys so much for coming to my stream. I deeply appreciate you guys coming to my stream. I mean, every one of you is always appreciated to come here and visit. It's great to have many of you guys visiting here. So we're going to take back off at runway 15 due to the be easier to take off compared to any other area. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out the flight plan. This time around, we're going to go follow the headings. So we're going to keep on here until we get to the runway. We turn left here and we get to the runway. And then we'll get ready to get going to fly. Let's see how much fuel we got in the Cessna. We have 61%. We have enough to definitely complete this leg. Got it all. So. Okay, we're gonna stop here for a bit. Adjust the barometer. 3,000 feet. That's gonna be our cruise. And I'm gonna set my heading to 249 degrees. So set the heading 249 degrees. So that's good, pretty good. Set here, increase the trim to 22. Max should be, and we be ready to take off. Yeah, East. Oh, I see you, Dangerous Brian. Nice, Brian. You're loaded up. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Like, I definitely like to. Remember, these are all group flights, not just me flying in the sim. This is all group stuff. On, off. Gonna go ahead and pull the flaps down. Just gonna wait till Brian, so we're gonna complete the circuit out around the aerodrome. Let's see who's out here. James Bryan's going to get in the air. That's awesome. That's too much. And we're going to climb it to around 99 knots. So. I'm on live weather, but since the clouds are a bit low, I'm going to go ahead and switch off live weather. And let's see what I can change it to. Oh, I figure out what I need. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this fits good. Obviously, I would have to reduce the number of gust. Compensate. Okay, that's good. Summer Dublin. This is the two-tone Murphy weather pack. So, by the way, before we get there, let's see Firefly error. So, guys, hey, Gibbo! Yo, Gibbo Ireland! Good to have you here. Thank you for the follow earlier today. Yeah, Ailerons of the Wind just raided my channel 25 minutes ago. Gibbo, good to have you here. Gibbo Ireland, thank you for following the channel. So, I want to talk about Firefly Air for a bit. So, Firefly Air is the main VA I'm joining, you know, as a proud team member of the Two-Tone Murphy community, as its resident researcher. I'm here to help promote the airline as its commander. So, basically, for those who don't know, Firefly Air is a virtual airline for MSFS, P3D, and X-Plane. Currently, it's the largest community here in FS Hub, and it's all this is for free. And how do you join Firefly Air? Create an FS Hub account, search for Firefly Air, and submit the application. Murph, or in this case Gibbo, could accept the email into the Discord. Then download this really cool little thing called a landing rate monitor, which does way more than just track your landings. It tracks your routes, logbook, GPS tracking device, route planner. It's amazing for freeware. And finally, install either FS UIPC for Microsoft Flight Simulator or X-Plane UIPC for X-Plane. And once you do that, you're now free to actually be part of this amazing community of Firefly Air. And I mean, it's absolutely insane. Firefly Air is a massive airline. We have over 186 people, the largest of them all. We have over 5,000 flights. We just cracked over 5,050 hours of flight time and nearly 1.5 million nautical miles. Just absolutely insane, guys. I mean, what an insanely good job for all of you guys. What an awesome time. Just incredible. Every one of the members of Firefly have been amazing today. But we don't just do more than just Firefly stuff. We also have our own achievements, including the Cross the Atlantic event from Boston to Dublin. We had our D-Day event last week. We also did a vintage style achievement with vintage airliners. And then earlier this week we did the inaugural Aer Lingus flight from Casement all the way to Bristol, which is awesome. And we're going to be doing more of these every single week. We're going to have a new achievement and stuff for all of it. So stay track of the streams. Currently, we also have our ranks. Murph CEO, Gibbles the first officer, and then you see good old Viper Strike, Commander. Yeah, Commander. You're doing you just reminded me, hey, no worries, Gibbo. I mean, with Murph gone, it's your job to actually help out. You're doing amazing things on Firefly Air Viper. Jonas, how it's done. Oh, thank you, Gibbo. It means quite a bit. It means a lot for me doing well here. So, yeah. If you guys look into my profile, let's see. I completed negative landing rate of negative 171 feet per minute, 524 flights, 340 hours of flight time, and over 123,000 nautical miles. And I visited all 241 countries. I visited every single country in FSF, and look at these flights. I mean, it's insane how many I can track. It's pretty nuts. We also have all sorts of achievements, from single flight achievements, from long range flights to mastering challenging approaches, and now you also now have multi-flight achievements and the airline achievements. So yeah, lots to offer. Just incredible. Okay, guys, we should be approaching the city of Sendai. Um, have you checked out the new advanced stats? Yes, I have. I haven't checked them out during this flight. So we're actually over the city of Sendai. So let me go ahead and get the slideshow information for this. I do these every single stream, Gibbo, if you never checked them out before. So what is the city of Sendai, you may ask? Well, it's the capital of the Miyagi Prefecture, the largest in the Tohoku region of Japan, and it's the second largest city north of Tokyo, with only Sapporo being bigger, with a population of 1,091,407 people, and it's one of the 20 designated cities in Japan. This city was founded in 1600 by the daimyo Daiichi Masamune. It was nicknamed the City of Trees, as there's many Zelkova trees lining the thoroughfares of the city. In the summer, it's host to the Sendai Tanabata Festival, which is the largest Tanaba festival in Japan. And it's basically a star festival, and it celebrates the deities of the Shinto religion. In the wintertime, the trees around the city were lighted in the pageant of starlight, lasting through most of December. Now, in 2011, the coastal areas of Sendai were affected by the magnitude 9.0 earthquake, which flooded the city in a tsunami. So definitely this city has quite the interesting history. So one of the more famous landmarks here is the Sendai Castle, which was around 1600. During this time, it was also it was one of the greenest cities in Japan during the modern era, thanks to all the trees and plants. During World War II, Sendai was bombed by the U.S., and much of the historic city was burned, killing 2,755 inhabitants and destroyed 11,900 houses. After the post-war, Sendai became a very valuable transportation logistics hub for the region, though it's been currently hit by several other earthquakes. Oh! Let's pause this for a bit. Let's do this. So, up here, if you're looking up here, that is this. There's baseball stadiums here. Well, I'll explain it back in one of my future streams, but baseball is a massive deal in Japan. And oh, actually, let's go check this city down here for a bit. Let's go ahead and turn off the autopilot. Turn off VAP. Yes. Yeah, I forgot. Sendai actually has photogrammetry, by the way, from the Japanese World Update. So let's go check out Sendai for a bit, guys, and let's take some pictures of this. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. Let's see. But this is cool. I forgot Sendai actually had photogrammetry. I forgot there were a few cities in Japan with photogrammetry. But yeah, Sendai is one of the cities in Japan that got the World Update photogrammetry. Okay, so you guys see this stadium right here? Well, you see, this is home to one of the Nippon Baseball League's teams. More specifically, the Rakuten Golden Eagles. It's the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles of the Nippon Baseball League. So let's explore Sendai for a bit. But yeah, I was not expecting the city to actually have programs. I forgot it was one of them. But yeah, this is cool. Let's explore the city for a bit. Right. And by the way, guys, usually my Sunday streams, Gibbo, I do city tours in the ultralights, by the way. So I explore all the different cities around the world with photogrammetry and talk about all the history and everything. Hey, Gun-Ho Guy 3! First time check, Gun-Ho Guy. Great to have you here. I hope you're doing well, Gun-Ho. I really appreciate you coming here. So, we're doing the Japanese Adventure World Tour from FS Hub for Firefly Air. This is a group flight. You're more than welcome to join in at any time you feel like it. But yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Yeah, doing great. You're boom, baseball stadium. You know about me and baseball. That's cool though. Sendai actually photogrammetry. That actually looks pretty good for photogrammetry. Really, really nice. We see all the different buildings here at Sendai. Now, if I was doing a city tour series, I would explore more of the city. But yeah, really, really cool area to explore. I mean, there's all the little landmarks here in the city, so definitely gonna fly around. Like, if it was a normal basic city, I would have ignored it, but this has photogrammetry, and there's no reason I ignore it. But yeah, this is cool. Yeah, very, very cool. Catching up on some achievements, awesome, gun home. So yeah. By the, hey, good. So by the way, I actually have a command. Here's the website for Firefly Air. Yeah, the scenery looks great in Sendai. Wait, speaking of which, I want to see if there's actually Sendai Castle. I'm definitely gonna take a picture of if I see Sendai Castle. Is it here? Should be up. I see one of the little landmarks here. Looks like another tower. Let's see if I can find my good camera skills. Ah, there's Sendai Castle from below. Yeah, I was not expecting Sendai to have photogrammetry. I forgot. Now, Tokyo, I know it definitely has photogrammetry. So, there's Sendai Castle. Took a picture. As you know, Viper Striker loves taking his pictures. I love photos. Yeah, this is awesome. So there's the rest of Sendai. Like I said, Japan has some massive areas around here. It's pretty crazy how urbanized all Japan is. I mean, Japan's one of the world's most urbanized countries, so it's pretty obvious why you have so much land. Yeah, the scenery is just amazing. So we're gonna climb back up to 2,500 feet. Back to autopilot, and we're gonna go back to... Now, to our left, there's an international airport here, Sendai Airport. Now, I don't put in the notes, but from my research, Sendai Airport does several international flights into Taiwan. In addition to Taiwan, it also does international flights to China, like Beijing and Shanghai, and also into South Korea, into Seoul. So definitely, there's the international airport for here. So definitely, but definitely been fantastic. So yeah. And by the way, guys, I usually post these on Discord. I usually do it's on my PowerPoint slides, but not this one. I'm continuing to work on it. By the time the series is over, I will be posting the slideshow notes, the whole thing, by the way. I'm also currently working on notes for Allison's friendship flight that's going to be on Friday. And by the way, you guys should definitely check out Allison Johnson. If you guys haven't checked out Allison, she's amazing. She even helped me get to be here in the first place. But she's doing her friendship flight on Friday. I mean, it's going to take her about 20 plus hours to do that flight, which is that is what I call an insane ordeal to fly 20 hours in a Fokker Model 7 tri-motor. Unfortunately, I won't be joining since I'm going to be on vacation, but I'll definitely check out in chats. So definitely someone I highly recommend. I know tomorrow Two Cats is going to be streaming, another fantastic member of the two-tone community. He's the other affiliate besides Allison. He makes some awesome content as well. So I'm going to give a shout out to my fellow two-tone Murphy community members. I have to. So our next place we're going to be heading to today is going to be the city of Fukushima. This will be our next waypoint. Should be getting to that somewhat quickly. But some background about the city of Fukushima that I do like to talk to you guys about. You know, me and my research. So Fukushima, this city is the capital city of its own prefecture in Japan, located in the northern part of the Nakadori, the central region. As of May 2021, the city has a population around 283,000 people. Now, the present-day city of Fukushima consisted of the former Shinobu and it looks like Date districts and a portion of the Adachi district. There are many different onsen on the outskirts of the city, including the Izakaka Onsen, Takiatsu Onsen, and Tsuchuyu Onsen. And basically what onsen are is that onsen are actually hot springs. They're the country's hot springs all throughout the country and using for bathing and traditional inns around the country. And that's because Japan has many of them stored around the major islands, including here in Fukushima. And apparently these onsens have some good etiquette, like ensuring cleanliness. Normally guests are not allowed to wear swimsuits in these baths. They generally bring a small towel. Obviously, they vary in noise. And normally, tattoos are not allowed in their facilities, though there are some that do. So there's that. Now the city itself has actually been found for a long time. The city itself came around during throughout the centuries for people living around the area, including the era of the daimyos, like the Azuchi Moriyama period. And one famous battle in 1600, Date Matsume and Hanjo Shimagaga engaged in the Battle of Matsukawa. in which the Usagi clan lost control of the district and it became ruled by the Tokugawa shogunate, which was the last of the shogunates that ruled Japan during that time. During the modern era and the turn to the end of World War II, Fukushima is known for its race course. It held its first horse race in 1918. And the area was bombed in World War II by the B-29 Superfortress. After the war, Fukushima was a major part of the Toho Bank. And then during the 21st century, now Fukushima was fine, but the earthquake still struck the city, but it wasn't that bad in comparison to other areas of the prefecture. And in 2018, it became known as a core city of Japan. Major part of its economy is agriculture with crops, and mainly the largest value is fruits. Apples, Japanese pear, and peaches. Due to all the orchards around the area. So yeah, that is a bit about Fukushima. We'll be flying over the city soon, and then afterwards, I'll be talking about the last remaining topic for today's flight, which would be all about transportation, which is a big deal in Japan. Transportation is an enormous deal, actually, for the country, as you'll probably learn later. So, guys, if you just came in, there was some pretty big news from MSFS add-ons. So, first is that they released their first pictures of the A2A Comanche 250. So, yes, A2A is finally coming into Microsoft Flight Simulator with their Comanche, their Piper Comanche, which is definitely going to be a very interesting plane. Oh, who's this? Oh, Fly Lilo just followed the channel. Fly Lilo. Thank you so much for the follow. Guys, by the way, if you guys don't know who Fly Lilo is, for guys who don't know who Fly Lilo is a huge inspiration for the flight sim community. He's quadriplegic. He's a quadriplegic flight simulator, and yet he flies many of these planes better than I could. I don't know how he does it. Like, the fact that him and his dad managed to make a flight simulator like this, I mean, has earned a massive amount of respect for me. I mean, it's great to have you here, Leo. Thank you so much. So we're flying in the land of the rising sun in Japan as part of the virtual airline Firefly Air. Oh, thanks. No problem, Lilo. You're amazing. You know that. As someone who has a disability of autism and has been around many people with disabilities, both physical and mental, I completely understand how much of a challenge it is. But the fact you're overcoming it, I mean, it just makes me kind of happy for people like that. So for these streams, Lilo, I'm very much a researcher. I do topics, I research all the different areas where we're flying through, and that's the focus of my channel. We just try to help disabled players, and I think you're doing an outstanding job, Wiley Low. You're doing a massive service to the flight sim community by helping disabled people to break down those barriers, to let them enjoy, to let them enjoy the sim like everyone else does. I mean, that's awesome that people like you are helping break down those barriers. It's awesome. A massive blessing. So we're approaching the city of Fukushima in Japan. But yeah, it's a massive blessing for you to be here. So yeah, there's some big news coming out in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's pretty amazing as well. Oh yeah, and I also got news. Just Flight also released their newest airport too. Just Flight actually released their first airport, I believe. which is actually in the Canary Islands, Lanzarote Airport. So Just Flight is actually coming out with their first airport, I believe. And I mean, the Canaries are definitely beautiful. I flew over the Canaries. They're definitely a great place to fly. Wow, Japan. Yeah, Japan's pretty amazing, Lilo. I mean, Japan was actually the first country that got the world updates. Earlier, we flew over Sendai, which was one of the cities in Japan with photogrammetry. But yeah, Japan's amazing. Tons of great mountains and views of the ocean, the lakes. Japan is amazing to fly over. Also, Japan's got massive airlines too, by the way. Japan's got some huge ones. So once we pass, in fact, right now, we see Mount Adatara actually to our right is Mount Adatara. Yeah, there's so many areas of Microsoft Flight Simulator to discover. I mean, Italy, you fly a lot over Italy, and there are some amazing stuff in Italy to look at. The Alps of Italy are great. All the different plains and the Alpines, all fantastic places to look at. Like, this sim has so many beautiful areas. That's why I love being on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Just so many great things. And basically, Lilo, I fly mostly GA, but there would be times I would be in airliners, and I do those for my VA flights. So I'd be flying the 737, sometimes the Airbus A320, but I mainly fly Boeing airliners. So, but yeah, but it's a great honor to have you here. Thank you so much. So there's Fukushima. Nice pilot. Thank you so much, Lilo. It's an honor to have you saying it too. And Lilo, I think you're a better pilot than I am. I mean, I think you're even better at being a pilot than I am. I mean, you're an excellent pilot too, Lilo. So there's that too. So I also do have a Discord for all you guys who haven't checked it out. I do have a Discord for all those who are interested. I do flight simulation streams every Wednesday and Sunday. I won't be doing next Sunday, but I'll be back on not this Sunday, but the next one. I do city tours every single Sunday. Visit a new city. Some of the city tours I've completed so far. Roberto is coming. Oh, Roberto's coming. Oh. Oh, and there's Gunho Guy here too. Oh, awesome. So some of my city tours I visited, Lilo. I visited Rome in the Vatican City. I actually had to split it into 2 parts. But for that one, I talked about everything. The history of Rome and the Vatican City, all the landmarks, the architecture. And I went into great detail about everything. About each of the landmarks of the city, its history. And for the Rome update, I went to London, talked about London's history and all of its great landmarks and stadiums. I covered my home city of Louisville. I live actually near Louisville, Kentucky, the largest city in the States. I'm hoping my next city tour, I think I have some ideas for next Sunday's tour. I was thinking about either doing a Sunday tour at Toronto, Canada, or I do a city tour in, probably doing a city tour in one of the new photogrammetry areas of the new update. I'm probably going to pay a visit to Eugene, Oregon. Hey, Robert Lilo, good to see you. Oh, Roberto, thank you so much. I'm doing fantastic. Lilo, tell me you are online and voila, here. It's Roberto, thank you for being an inspiration. You and your son are a massive inspiration for me. To see you succeed in Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's a huge understatement. And as someone who's been around people with disabilities, and someone who actually has a mental disability and autism, it just warms my heart to see people do really well, to overcome it, and to help them overcome their disability and enjoy their dreams. It makes me a very massively happy person. It really does. So we just got past Fukushima. We're going to go ahead and climb to 3,000 for our flight altitude. 3,000. No, not that. 85 knots. We are simple players thinking of our players, nothing special. But the thing is, it is special though. Trying to help people to overcome it is pretty special in my eyes. But yeah, the scenery is awesome. The scenery in Japan is absolutely incredible. Oh yeah, Japan's amazing scenery. I also got the two-tone Murphy weather preset pack, which is on one of the downloads, and it's in the summer Dublin weather thing. It looks absolutely awesome. Love the weather pack. I really think thanks a lot, Gunho and Danger Prime, for flying along today. I mean, I'm beyond grateful for it. So, I'm going to go ahead and talk about so Lilo and Roberto. So, I'm a resident researcher of the two-tone Murphy. You have no stuttering? I do stutter a bit. I talk pretty fast, but I do have stutter. I do have some stutter, but it's not a big deal. Sometimes I talk so fast that it kind of does that. So exactly, people that see others with a disability don't really see them. Exactly, I kind of feel like that too. Exactly, people should be treated as equal people and see them as normal people. I hate when people pick on other people with disabilities and all that, because it's just like, they're people too. Like, just because they have a disability doesn't mean they're any less of a person than someone without any of it. And like I said, judge people with their character. Don't judge them for how they look. Judge them by their character as a people. I think that is something that I wish more people would do. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Japan's transportation, if you guys don't mind. So Japan itself in the transportation, well, Japan transportation-wise is quite important. You see, Japan's transport sector is known for being quite diverse, not just with cars, but it's known for many things. For example, Japan is known for its energy efficiency, as Japan uses less energy per person compared to other countries, thanks to all the rail transport and low travel distances. As a result, due to its short distances and rail, there's not much energy output. But it's also quite expensive compared to a lot of international countries, thanks to the tolls and taxes that are quite high in price, particularly on automobile transports. As a result, Japan has a large spending on roads, with 1.2 million kilometers of road as the main means of transport. There's also lots of railways. Over dozens of railway companies in Japan compete in local and regional transport markets. And there's also airports. Over 176 airports, with the largest being Haneda Airport, which is the busiest in Asia. Other gateways include Narita International, which is just outside of Tokyo, and Kansai International, which is by Osaka and Kobe. So I do these every single stream, so you guys actually learn something from these streams. I don't want to just come in and just fly. I want you all to learn something, and I think that's important. Flight sim is the perfect area to learn about the world. I mean, we have the world as a plaything. Why not learn about it? So in terms of railways, railways are a huge deal for transport in the country, especially for mass and high-speed transport between cities. There are 7 railway groups, the JR groups, that were originally state-owned and covered most of the parts of Japan. There's also railway services operated by private companies, regional governments, and funded by both governments and companies. The total railways, which are around 27,000 kilometers, and also a couple of cities, including Tokyo, Sendai, and Nagoya, have subway systems. And the first railway built in Japan was built between Tokyo's Shimbashi Station and Yokohama's Yokohama Station in 1872. And as a result, Japanese railway is one of the world's most developed transport networks in the world. Now, when people mostly think of railways in Japan, obviously most people think of the bullet trains, or the Shinkansen. There's about 1,400 miles of the 8 lines run on separate lines from the trains, and they can be quite fast, as the fastest of these trains can operate at a max speed of 200 miles an hour. Oh yeah, and despite their fast speed, these trains are also extremely safe, as there have been no accident-related deaths or injuries from the passengers in 50 years they've been in service. And of course, thanks to that speed, they are very punctual, as they always get there on time. Pretty crazy to think about it. In addition to this as well, Japan's also developing Maglev technology for their trains, and broke the world record in 2015 with the top speed of 375 miles an hour. And it's going to be and it's under construction right now, and when it was completed in 2045, it would cover that distance between 3 cities in only 67 minutes. Basically just over an hour to get there. Just imagine going from one side from Japan to the other in 67 minutes. That's unbelievably fast. Then we talk about road work. The roadways in Japan, there's quite a few of them. So according to the Statistical Yearbook of 2015, as of 2012, Japan had nearly 1,215,000 kilometers of roads. There's all sorts of roadways connecting through the entire country. Now it was expanded considerably in the 1980s as private ownership of motor vehicles has been increased, along with the quality and extent of the roads. There's also different bus companies that offer bus services through the expressway networks. And recently there's been some major infrastructure projects with roads, including the Great Seto Bridge and the Tokyo Bay Aqua Line. So there's all that. Time for sleeping, many thanks for streaming, and shout out to all, and shout out and all, really. See you soon. Cheers from Italy. Lilo, thank you so much for coming to my stream. Thank you so much for coming by. It was an honor to have you here. I hope I can see you again soon, Lilo. I hope I get to see your stream again soon. Thank you so much. I hope to catch by one of your streams soon, and I want to give you a massive thank you for that. I really deeply appreciate it. So take care, everyone. Take care. Oh yeah, let me see. Arrivederci. Arrivederci. Goodbye. See you soon. Thank you so much. So next is going to be Airways of Japan. You see, airline in Japan, Japan's actually a massive aviation market. After all, it's the 4th largest passenger market in the world in 2013 with over 105 million passengers. And also it has, in 2013, it also had 190 different airports. The main international gateways to Japan include Narita International, Kansai International, and Chubu Central Air International Airport in Nagoya. The main hub is Haneda Airport, which, by the way, is also handcrafted, and it's the world's 4th busiest airport. Now, there's obviously 2 major airlines that operate here: Japan Airlines and All Nippon Airways. Other services include Skymark Airlines, Airdo, and Fuji Dream Airlines. Also, in addition, there's also been some international operators here, including United Airlines and Delta Airlines. Those 2 American airports offer a lot of services to Japan. Now, historically, domestic air travel in Japan has been regulated. But nowadays, it's actually less regulated, but there's still some regulations. Oh yeah, do we have a link? Yeah, let me go ahead. Here, there it is. Here's the link, Dangerous Brian. Here's the link to Fly Lilo streams. Awesome people, absolutely awesome, amazing people. Both Lilo and Roberto. Definitely check those two out. They're incredible people. Oh, I need to turn left. I'm going the wrong. So the first major airline I gotta talk about is, now we talk about the 5 busiest airports in Japan. So they include the busiest obviously is Haneda Airport, and as of 2018, Haneda actually transported 84 million passengers, followed by Narita, the other Tokyo International Airport, with 40 million. Then there's Kansai Airport, with 28 million passengers, followed by Fukushima Airport, Romeo Juliet Foxtrot, 24 million people. And finally, the last thing is New Chitos, which we visited during week 1. And this was already in Sapporo with 23 million passengers. So, yes. So these are some of Japan's biggest airports. Busiest. Then we're going to talk about both of Japan's major airliners. Let's start with its first major airline company, All Nippon Airways, ANA as they are known, or Zenikoku, is actually Japan's largest airliner by fleet. They're located in Shinano City Center in the Minato ward of Tokyo, services to both domestic and international destinations. And as of March 2016, over 20,000 employees have actually worked at All Nippon Airways. It was founded on December 27th, 1952, originally as Japan Helicopter and Airplane. In addition to mainland operations, they control regional airlines like ANA Wings, Air Nippon, and Air Do, along with ANA Cargo. So the history of ANA goes way back to 1952, when it was founded as Japan Airplane and Airplane Transports Company, with the other ancestor being Far East Airlines. It originally began helicopter services in 1953, when they flew from Osaka to Tokyo in a de Havilland Dove, which is a short haul airliner. Then they also flew DC-3s, and then Far East Airlines merged with the Japan Helicopter and Airport Transportation Company, which is now turned into All Nippon Airways, and formed the capitalization of the modern ANA. In the 1960s, they added quite a few planes, including the Vickers Viscount, which is another airliner, and the Fokker F-27 in 1961. In 1965, they introduced their first jets, the Boeing 727, on their route from Tokyo to Sapporo, and introduced Japan's first turboprop airliner from homegrown, the NAMC YS-11 turboprop airliner, to replace their Convair's. As the company grew, it handled all sorts of ground services, and many of these companies shared an ANA. And then in 1971, they bought their first wide-body plane, the Lockheed L-1011s, the TriStar, which involved, well, basically the bribery from Lockheed during that time. Now, the aircraft entered service in 1974, following Tokyo to Okinawa. They also brought in their first 747s in 1976, and 737s in 83. And then once it continued to grow its operations, it increased its international services gradually, from Beijing and Dalian to Hong Kong and Sydney in 87, Seoul in 88, in London and Saipan in 89, Paris, and then followed New York and Singapore. during this timeline. Pretty crazy how much ANA has really grown. Going all the way back in 2004, it saw their profits exceed that of the flag carrier Japan Airlines for the first time ever. First time ever. Facing a surplus of all that due to the expansion of Tokyo International. And it recently became, in Air Transport World, named it the 2007 Airline of the Year. And in 2011, All Nippon Airways and AirAsia agreed to form their own low-cost carrier called AirAsia Japan. And that lasted to 2013. And in 2018, they integrated to their low-cost subsidiaries Peach Aviation and Vanilla Air into the new Peach name. And in 2019, they purchased a holding of Philippine Airlines for $95 million. So a bit of a short history of All Nippon Airways. Now, ANA has actually got quite a bit of destinations from around the world. That includes all of Japan, along with international routes to Korea, India, Southeast Asia, Canada, US, Mexico, Australia, and Western Europe. Some of these destinations include Sydney, Vienna, Vancouver, Beijing, Shanghai, Paris, Hong Kong, New York City, LA, and Seattle. Just to name a few of the destinations All Nippon Airways has actually flown over. They also do flights into Hawaii too as one of its only resort routes. Pretty cool stuff. And as terms of their fleet, they got quite a few planes underneath their fleet. They mainly fly a mix between Airbus and Boeings. They include the A320 family planes, including the Neo, A320neo, A321-200, and A321neo family model of planes. They also flew 39 of the 737-800 models, which is the most popular model of the 737. Then they fly 18 of the 767 family planes as well. Then they fly quite a few 777 family planes, the 200, 200ER, the extended range, 300, and the 300ER. And then they're also going to order 20 of the 777-9s, which is the newest model of the 777s, to replace their older model 777 models. Then they're also the launch customer of the 787s, including 36 of the 787-8 models, 39 of the 789 models, with 9 more on order. And they're ordering they're going to get 14 total of the 787-10 models, which we have here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. In addition, they also got one more fleet they're going to get. The Mitsubishi SpaceJet N90. The delivery's been delayed, but it's a new regional jet that's going to be in service. Historically, the ANA has operated the 737 family of planes, the 74s, and also the Lockheed L-1011 TriStars, due to bribery from Lockheed. So there's all that too. And finally, we talk about its flag carrier, Japan Airlines. So for guys who don't know what a flag carrier is, a flag carrier is locally registered in a given sovereign state, and it has unique privileges and stuff that other airlines don't. But it's actually the second largest airline as of 2021, the world's second largest airline. Operated in Tokyo Narita Airport. It currently operates scheduled and non-scheduled flights to 220 destinations in 35 countries, including the codeshares, with a fleet of 279 planes. In 2009, carried over 52 million passengers. It's also a member of one of the more well-known alliances, the One World Aviation Alliance, in 1999, which include Alaska Airlines, American Airlines, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, and Qantas. So yeah, pretty big deal. flight internationally between Tokyo to San Francisco in the Douglas DC-6B, known as the City of Tokyo, from Wake Island in Honolulu. And there are still flights 1 and 2 to commemorate the first international service. In addition to all the Douglas planes, they also operated the DC-4 and DC-7 during the 50s, flying to Hong Kong and nailing down the domestic network. And eventually the Hong Kong route was extended to Bangkok and Singapore. Then the jet era came around. And with the jet era, Japan Airlines took the Fiji DC-8 and flew from Tokyo to Honolulu and San Francisco. And they went on to operate 51 of the Douglas DC-8s, which retired the last of it in '87. They've also flown to Seattle and Hong Kong in 1960. And at the end of 1961, they did flights from Tokyo to Seattle, Copenhagen, London, and Paris via Anchorage. They also added Moscow, New York, and Busan to their new city collection as well. Now, during an agreement signed with China, they kind of temporarily strained relations with Taiwan during this time, though it was restored on September 15th of the same year. As well, in the 1980s, Japan Airlines performed special flights for the Crown Prince Akihito and Michino, Pope John II, and for Japanese prime ministers, before the dedicated Japanese Air Force One. They also started doing flights to Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro for Anchorage and San Juan. But it was then changed to LA as well. Once deregulation happened during the time, it opened up a lot more competition. And as a result, it now had to compete with All Nippon Airways. Now, in the 90s, Japan Airlines evacuated a lot of the Japanese citizens from Iraq before the start of the Gulf War. However, in the 90s, they also faced a lot of economic difficulties due to the recessions in the US and UK, along with the domestic downturn, known as the Lost Decade. And now began to operate at lots of losses. So they really cut down on a lot of... In 1997, the airline flew Prime Minister Ryota to Peru in order to deal with the embassy hostage crisis that happened here during Peru, and they also placed orders for the 777s during the 90s, making it one of the 8 airlines that participated in the 777 design process. In the modern era, Japan Air System and Japan Airlines merged and established their new Japan Airline system. In 2009, Japan Airlines suffered a lot of losses financially, and they actually had to declare for bankruptcy due to it. Now, after they gained out of bankruptcy, they joined a new an airline alliance, SkyTeam. They actually become part of One World still. And with its equity stake, they began new partnerships within the One World Alliance, and the company started to regain its financial stuff back to the way it should. During COVID-19 eras, they did a lot of safety measures to prevent the spread of COVID, like different hygiene stuff throughout the planes. And on June 18th, 2021, they conducted their first flight with 2 different types of sustainable aviation fuel, from Tokyo Haneda to Sapporo, and used 3,132 liters of a sustainable aviation fuel from wood chips and microalgae. So basically, it was the first flight in the world to use biofuel derived from gasified wood chips. Pretty cool stuff. As well. Now, destinations, of course, they serve 60 domestic destinations and 39 international destinations all throughout Asia, America, Europe, and Oceania, excluding all the codeshare stuff. Its main hubs are Narita Airport in Tokyo, Haneda, Kansai International, and Itami Airport. And currently operate 4,500 international flights and 26,000 domestic flights monthly. In terms of their fleet, Japan Airlines carries quite a few planes, including members of the A350 family, the 900 and A350-1000 models, to replace their 777s. The 1000 is going to be the newest version. It's the lengthened variant. They also have the 45 of the 737s, 29 767-300 extra ranges. They still operate the 777s, but they're going to be replaced by the Airbus A350 as of 2023. And then they also operate the 787 family planes, the 8 and 9 models, and then they're also ordered the SpaceJet 90 regional jets. Some of their former fleet include the 747 family of planes, the Douglas DC-8, and the McDonnell Douglas MD-80 planes, which is the Mad Dogs. So that is a bit about Japan's airline history, guys. So now you guys get to know two of Japan's most well-known airlines. I think that would be really fun to actually learn all about Japanese airlines. So the next time you do commercial airports into Japan, you would now know there are two major airliners. Pretty cool stuff. So with us, we have Dangerous Brian. Here's Gun-Ho Guy. And we have quite a few big planes because, well, we're getting near Tokyo. So those are also the last slides for today. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming here today. Wow, what a great stream this has been. Got lots of new follows today. Some amazing people here today. I want to say a massive thank you for everyone here. Seriously, what an awesome stream. Thank you guys so much for showing up today. You guys all showed up in a massive, massive way. Just incredible. Have you strapped in a jet to that Cessna? I can't keep up. I don't think so. I think I'm in the G1000 variant. Either you can't keep up, or I had hashtag 22. I hope it wasn't hashtag 22. But man, what a beautiful flight today! What a fantastic flight! This is awesome. So we're 25 nautical miles from our destination here today. So we're approaching the city of Utsunomiya. For my last tidbit of information for today, this is actually the capital city of the Tokachi Prefecture in northern Kanto, with a population of 519,223. It is famous around Japan for its pan-fried dumplings known as gyoza. And there's over 200 of those restaurants all throughout the city. And during the Edo period, this area was ruled by several of the daimyo clans. And one of the major conflict areas was the Battle of Utsunomiya Castle in 1868. And currently some of its sister cities, the sister city of this includes Auckland in New Zealand, the capital of New Zealand, Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Orleans, France. So it is picturesque. Japan is stunning. Japan's such an underappreciated country in the sim. Like, most people, when they fly to Japan in the sim, they usually take one of the big Giknas and fly them over Tokyo Haneda Airport. But when you get down below, Japan is great. So guys, I think I know what to do. Once we land, it's a grass strip landing. I see no runways. No, there's a runway. It's actually... But yeah, this area is amazing. Just picturesque. So the next flight we're going to be going on, not this upcoming Wednesday, but it's actually in 2 weeks Wednesday. We're going to be flying into Tokyo. So expect me to know everything about Tokyo, from history of Tokyo, population, economy of Tokyo. Basically, everything about Tokyo, I will be educating you all on Tokyo. By the time you actually know all this Tokyo stuff, you probably know more than the people who actually live in Tokyo. You'll learn about the cityscape, the environment, the strong economy, all the transportation, cultures, everything. You will know everything about Tokyo. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and drop down in altitude to around 2,000 feet. Gonna drop down a bit. Sports? Yes, sports too. Japan's got lots of sports. Where are you having your vacation, says Dangerous Brian? Well, Brian, I'm going to be having my vacation in the Western Caribbean. I'm going to be taking a cruise from Orlando, Florida, going down to visit Cozumel, Mexico, Costa Maya, I believe, near Belize, and then finally Mahogany Bay in Honduras. Oh, I want to sub. Nice. Hey, King Cobra 74. Great to have you here, Cobra. We're about to make our final landing here at Romeo Juliet Tango Uniform. Unfortunately, I have not completed my onboarding yet because I don't have really much of an income. But that being said, it doesn't matter if you don't or not. You're more than welcome to always come by my stream at any time. I'm the kind of guy who opens up to everyone here to come and visit. Yeah, we've had an amazing flight today, Cobra. We had a raid from ailerons in the wind. Got several major new follows. Fly Lilo even came by to my stream. It's great to have him and his dad come along. But yeah, the next Wednesday after, the next Japan Adventure Tour is going to be awesome. It's going to be over Tokyo. I can't wait to fly over Tokyo. It's going to be amazing. Tokyo, Yokohama, and Mount Fiji. I mean, I'm probably going to get tired from putting all the information up to it. So here's what I'm thinking about planning for the next stream. For my next, I think my next stream is next Sunday. I'm thinking that next Sunday stream is going to be an airliner flight. I'm going to be, because I don't have enough notes to do the city tour stuff. So, I mean, I'm going to be doing an airline flight. The question is what kind of routes. Probably I want to take the 737 cargo plane and probably do from the Louisville hub, probably do from Dallas to Louisville in the 737 from our two major U.S. hubs. Or I'd probably fly somewhere international, maybe fly somewhere to Dublin. But yeah, lots of cool areas to fly in Microsoft Flight Sim. Tons of really cool areas from our hubs. So here's Utsunomiya. We're just about going to cross the river over to the city. So here we are. Utsunomiya. No problem, King Cobra. Like I said, you're all more than welcome to come here anytime. Hey, you're gonna jump out here, man. Take care there, Muse fan. Thank you for coming by watching my stream today. Thanks for coming by and watching my stream. I really appreciate it, Muse fan. I hope I see you soon. I hope to see you soon, Muse fan. I hope you have a great rest of the night. So here's Utsunomiya. So here's the city, and this will be where we stop for today. And as soon as we do that, we will be completing leg 4 of the Japan trip. And what? Oh, can't do rated? Oh, can't do with a party of 18 people. Oh, can't do. What are you doing here? Guys. Oh, can't do. I hope you're doing well. We're about almost making it to the end of the stream. We're here in Japan, the land of the rising sun. Senor Pablo. Good to see you. Oh, can do. Token Brown. Guys, thanks for coming around here. We're about to end week 2 of the Japan adventure for the virtual airline Firefly Air. We're going to land at Utsunomiya Aerodrome. So, earlier today, let me show you where we did Oh, can do. So, earlier today, we did this. So we flew from Aomori, flew across all the different mountains to Machiyama Aerodrome, and then flew across the city of Sendai, Fukushima, and now we flew to Utsunomiya to complete our tour. Today we also discussed my slideshows. We discussed all about transportation. We got to talk about geology on my slideshows. Here's some of the slideshows we covered for today, just at least a few of them. Japan Airlines, we talked about All Nippon Airways, airports, transportation, all different airports, economy, all that. You got to learn everything about Japan, and basically this is what all this stream is going to be about. So that is all what this stream is known for, is to learn about Japan. Making your way, yep. And we're doing this for Firefly Air, our main VA, and I think we found the airport. I'm going to go try to make a landing, guys. We're about to make the landing. I mean, this is going to be pretty, let's see. Autopilot, flight director is off. Whoa. Gotta lower, the trim was set to. So, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Oh, this city has photogrammetry too. Utsunomiya has. It looks like it has. Yeah, I think it has photogrammetry. Oh, visit's cool. I didn't know the city had photogrammetry. Oh, that is so cool. But yeah, guys, I think we're about to make our final landing for the day. So hashtag predict and do your number. Estimation word to predict and make the landing. We had Dangerous Brian with this today. And we also have Gunho Guy flying today, so we have quite a few people. But yeah, this will be my last stream for the next couple weeks. I'm going to enjoy my much-earned vacation break. Since I didn't make the last cruise back in April, I'm happy that we finally get to have a cruise and get some much-needed relaxation. I'm super excited. Hey, Jack Link with the follow. Thank you so much, Jack. I hope you... Hey, okay, dude. I wonder how your stream went today. I bet you guys are up to no good as usual in the bush planes. You guys are some amazing bush pilots. I mean, to fly with OK Do, awesome, awesome dude. Thanks, Gaming. First time chat. Good to have you here in Jackson. And 108. Hey, that's good landing. So let me go ahead and give a quick shout out to O-Can-Do. The dude's awesome, entertaining, funny, and amazing bush pilot. The dude can do it all. Definitely, guys, if you like bush flying and love to fly in the backcountry like I do, check out O-Can-Do. You're also messing around MSFS. Awesome. So that completes Leg 4 for Firefly Air. So that is going to be Leg 4 complete. Yep, Leg 4 is done. That's leg number 4. So I'm using FS Hub, which is for the virtual airline service. It's all for free. All you have to do is download, get an FS Hub account and land rate monitor, and you can actually do your own virtual airline service, and you can fly anywhere in the world. And all this for free is amazing. So we're gonna go ahead and get this parked. We're gonna park right here, and we're gonna watch Dangerous Brian and Gunho Guy attempt a landing here. It's another tradition I do for my good supporter Tuto Murphy. Wow. Getting rated twice? What an amazing day for me and the channel. Brian is down, and so is Gunho. Awesome job, you two. Wow, thank you two so much for coming along on today's stream. Guys, I want to say a massive thank you for you all here. So what a way to end today's flight. And by the way, I need to do one more pick. Booyah. What a way to end today's stream. I mean, guys, I want to say a massive thank you for everyone here. All of the new follows, the raids, all you guys in the chat, the pilots, Gunho Guy and Dangerous Brian, thank you so much for flying with me. O-Can-Do and Airlines of the Wind with the 2 big raids. Seriously, thank you guys so much for making my day today. So guys, for next week, there will be no flights on Sunday and next Wednesday, but there will be a flight on next Sunday. Hopefully next Sunday. In that case, I'll be taking the airliner. I'll be taking the Boeing 737 cargo plane for some Firefly Air cargo operations from from Louisville Sanford to Dallas Fort Worth to connect our two hubs. And then next Wednesday would be, and the Wednesday afterwards is going to be a huge day. We're going to be flying into Tokyo and Mount Fuji in one stream. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I can't wait. So guys, thank you so much. And by the way, stay for the raid, because I know who exactly we're going to raid today. And this one's actually a really easy choice. And they're actually great friends of mine. I've known, and that is the Shadow Display team. I mean, I've known these guys since they were originally the Funflies. I'm good friends with all their members. And I never got a chance to raid them because they stream after I usually do it. But today we're gonna go definitely stream the Shadow Display team. Guys, thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Viper Strike 95 is signing off.